Tea partiers getting ready to protest tax day this week, but maybe they should be celebrating instead because a climate tax is on its way and threatening to make your current tax bill look like chump change. Hello, everybody. I'm Cheryl Casoni. Welcome to Cashin' In. Our Cashin' In crew this week: Wayne Rogers, Jonathan Hoenig, Jonas Max Ferris, and John Layfield, along with Fox Business Network's Jerry Willis, and from the Economic Policy Institute, Ethan Pollack. Welcome to everybody. All right, John. In D.C., they're calling it cap and trade. You say this is really an energy tax. But what we want to know here, though, what does this mean for Americans next year when we start to file next year our taxes?
It means you have a European model: more tax, more spend, less growth. This is absolutely unbelievable. This administration, this Congress, has zero fiscal responsibility, but yet you have a healthcare tax, you have a VAT tax being proposed, a soda tax, a tanning bed tax, a tobacco tax. You have every tax imaginable, and they're not doing anything proper and fiduciary with the money that we are giving them. This cap and trade does not work. Every environmental scientist that is independent says this does zero for the environment and will add hundreds of billions of dollars to the consumer in taxes and burdens. This thing is a disaster, but they understand they have till midterms to pass legislation like they did with health care that America doesn't want.
You know what, Ethan? I mean, this has always been the argument against cap and trade, and while pretty much from last year to now it's kind of died down in the press because it basically is an energy tax, the opponents say. But you don't believe that. Why not?
No, I mean, first off, you know, we had a cap and trade for sulfur dioxide. Remember the acid rain thing in the early 90s? It was signed by President Bush Sr., and it worked amazingly. And costs were, you know, there was so much fewer costs than actually we thought there was going to be. Furthermore, you know, we've got a pollution problem, and because we're addicted to fossil fuels, we've got national security problems. So we need to put a price on carbon, and this is a way to do it.
You know what?
CO2 is not pollution.
Okay, Jared, let's talk about spending here for a second, guys, and talk about what this means to our wallets. Because if you're looking at spending $821 billion in direct spending out of the House version already, that's what the CBO has told us. So it's going to be more spending direct out of the taxpayers' pockets, and then at the end of the day, your energy bills could go up for you and your home.
Can I tell you, we have so many taxes going on right now and coming right out of Americans' pockets, and everybody's feeling it. Your share of federal debt at this moment, not in the future as things go up, $120,000. That's a lot of dough for each and every American. You
know, Jonas, do you think that this is at the end of the day going to make this year's tax bill, which hasn't been fun for a lot of folks, even worse come next year?
What you talking about, Willis? I don't
That's know. Willis. Casoni over here, buddy.
Well, I don't understand. I'm trying to understand how this plays out in your tax return next year. Unless you're a coal company, I don't see how your income tax return filed on April 15th is going to show any of this climate legislation. And that doesn't mean you're not going to pay for it. And ultimately, anything that's climate related that's going to lower consumption is going to do it through higher prices, through higher taxes at some level, which is going to filter down to you, but not on your income tax return. I will say your 2009 return is going to be the best return you're going to see for the next 20 years because it's the very end of a very low tax regime. The spending comes first, the tax increases come later, but don't blame the climate thing on your income taxes.
There are lots of people to blame for
that. The climate thing is profitable, by the way, to the government. They are going to raise taxes on industry.
Well, Jonathan, I mean, look, this is Congress we're talking about. They can do anything with this cap and trade bill if it gets through, and it might at this point.
And it's a tax. I mean, Cheryl, there's no doubt about it, but that's the Greens' goal. The Greens' goal is to make energy more expensive to use. So, yes, whether it's restricting exploration, development, cap and trade, or whatever, that's their goal, to make it harder to use the earth. The problem is that we need to use the earth to be productive, to progress, to live our lives. Everything the Greens do is designed to make that process more expensive, more difficult. That's why energy prices will go up, and it's ultimately why resource prices will go up as well.
That's the thing, though. I mean, Wayne, I mean, this is all a numbers game at the end of the day. If they do push cap and trade through, the House is trying, the Senate's going to come back and debate it. So at this point, if they put it through, they could figure out 10 different ways to China how to pay for it. Not that I meant to bring up China, but you know what I'm saying, Wayne.
Yeah, but it's trying to pay for it. They don't know what they're doing in the first place because nobody knows whether this is a bill about climate change, about pollution, about energy saving. They don't know what it is yet. They haven't defined it. And it's going to be just like the Congress is incapable of doing it. It's too complex. It's too complex for them. Listen, if you turn out 2,700 pages for a health care bill, imagine what this bill is going to be like. It'll be a total disaster. Yes, taxes will go up. They have no idea. By the way, the Congressional Budget Office, you mentioned that earlier, they have no idea yet what it's going to cost because they don't know what's in the bill. Nobody knows again. It's the same thing where they don't read it.
Ethan, you know, when you talk about spending out of D.C., I mean, of course, the worry is it's going to hurt the economy down the line. I mean, the government is spending and spending and spending. This may be another way for them to do that at the taxpayers' expense. You're at the Policy Institute. You tell me what this does to the economy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that this actually could create jobs in the short term, and I think in the long term too. But in the short term, you need to remember that the price of carbon is actually going to be quite low. It's going to be really low, much lower than it actually probably should be on a long-term basis. And what's going to happen is over the next 5-10 years, the price is going to get ratcheted up. But what that does is that you see a lot of these businesses like GE that's sitting on the sidelines that's saying, you know what? I want to invest in green technology, but I don't see a strong price signal. I'm not sure that there's going to be a demand for green technology in 5, 10, 20 years. But if you put that price signal there, then they start investing now, and that creates jobs right now.
But you don't remember the price signal under the Bush administration when they subsidized the ethanol industry, all those green jobs? I mean, Ethan, we've been through this before. And to make the taxpayer, you're right, carbon prices will go up. Who pays that? American taxpayers pay that. Maybe they don't pay it in their income tax on April 15th, but they pay it out of their wallets, and of course we all suffer.
Gentlemen, you know, Jerry's done some great reporting on what the tax code does do to the wallets of Americans, Jerry. And at the end of the day, I go back to my point. This could be built, legislated 10 different ways.
Well, you know, look, we're already seeing taxes going up across the board, and I think Americans are really worried about where this is all going. And I think somebody said it really well just a few moments ago when they said, this is going to be your best tax year. Not next year, not the next year. You're going to see higher taxes. Will some of these costs from energy filter down to us? Yes, but we've got a lot more on our plate.
That was Jonas. Jonas, I think, is going to have a good tax year. I don't know about everybody else, but whatever Jonas did, he needs to share it with the group.
I don't run a coal plant yet, and I don't plan on launching one. That's going to help. But you mentioned China, and I will say that if we tax this properly, this is a bad plan they're cooking up, but if it was done right, it would actually hurt a country like China and theoretically help America. In fact, they're layering the cost onto U.S. businesses, which is only going to incentivize you to make stuff abroad and ship it here, which is not what this should be doing.
Wayne, last word, mister.
Well, there's a fundamental flaw in all of this, and that is that climate change, that is that there's a carbon footprint, and that's being produced by human beings. And that is not necessarily so. There are about 650 scientists out there that are saying it is not so. And here's the Congress. Oh, they are real smart. They can do this. They have scientists. They really know what the hell they're doing. So they're going to tax it. It'll be a total disaster.
All right. Thanks to everybody. Listen, a big